On the 20th of October 1904, Admiral Sir John Fisher became the first Sea Lord of the Admiralty for the Royal Navy, and he came along with a series of proposals that would radically change the way the Royal Navy was constructed, and this would also result in the implementation of a new type of warship that would eventually become known as the battle cruiser. Fisher's seemingly endless list of proposals created a lot of controversy within the Royal Navy, and so he was one of the leading figures in creating the Committee on Designs. The Committee on Designs was appointed in order to investigate the feasibility behind Fisher's ideas, though in reality, with hindsight, they were more or less appointed to validate decisions already arrived at by Fisher. The members of the committee received an Admiralty letter on the 22nd of December 1904, and their first meeting took place on the 3rd of January 1905. During this first meeting, Fisher would inform the members of the committee that their purpose was to investigate a series of designs for the upcoming battleship, armored cruiser, and destroyer projects, and though he did not say it during this meeting, they were also expected to investigate submarine designs. He stressed that the committee's purpose was not to replace the Director of Naval Construction as designer of Royal Navy warships, but decisions they made would impact future design decisions that the Director of Naval Construction would be expected to uphold. In relation to the armored cruiser project, they were given 4 specific points to follow when creating their designs. The ship needed to have a speed of 25.5 knots, it needed to have a main battery made up of 12-inch guns, and its secondary battery had to focus on anti-torpedo boat combat and nothing more, and finally, the armor scheme of the ship should resemble that of the Minotaur. The committee also received dimensions to various building ways and dry docks, so that the committee did not consider designs that exceeded what Britain could physically build. In relation to the armored cruiser, the committee was supplied what was specified as Design A by naval constructor C.H. Croxford, who created the design based on specifications provided by the Director of Naval Construction, and Design A was presented to the committee on the 4th of January 1905. Design A had a length of 540 feet between perpendiculars, a beam of 77 feet, a draft of 26 feet, and a standard displacement of 17,000 tons. The propulsion system was to be made up of coal and oil-fired boilers acting on 4 steam turbines, creating 42,000 shaft horsepower for a speed of 25.5 knots, and the armor protection was identical to that of the Minotaur. The main armament was made up of 8 12-inch 50 caliber guns in 4 dual turrets, with 2 wing turrets located forward and 2 super firing turrets located aft, giving the maximum amount of firepower over the bow and stern, along with a 6-gun broadside. The committee immediately questioned the super firing turret arrangement aft, as they believed the blast pressure from turret 3 could most certainly impact turret 4 when firing directly abeam, though blast tests had to be held to confirm this. Before the meeting came to a close on the 4th of January 1905, they created 2 more designs, B and C, which had different turret arrangements that did not incorporate super firing turrets. Design B had 2 wing turrets forward and 2 wing turrets aft, while Design C had 2 wing turrets forward and a single turret aft, so 1 whole turret is being sacrificed in that design. But Design C also incorporated an extra deck on the forward half of the ship in order to improve the vessel's seaworthiness, and as a result of having 2 wing turrets aft on Design B, its beam was slightly widened in that location, and so these 2 designs had a standard displacement of roughly 17,200 tons. Later that day, the committee would revisit designs A through C, but this time with a blast diagram for the 12-inch guns in hand, which did confirm that the blast pressure from the super firing turret did interfere with its lower counterpart, but it also confirmed that when firing on extreme angles, the wing turret's blast pressures also interfered with each other, so both turret arrangements seemed to have the same defect. It was also recognized with designs B and C that the turret arrangements, or the outright removal of the turret, reduced the broadside firepower by 2 guns, which went against the purpose of adding more guns to the ship. The 4th of January meetings ended on that note, and over the upcoming days, 2 more designs would be created and proposed to the committee on the 12th of January. Both designs D and E would attempt to address blast effects on surrounding turrets, and so Design D had a single turret forward, a single turret aft, and 2 wing turrets that could not fire on the opposite broadside. Design E had a single turret forward, a single turret aft, and 2 wing turrets amidships set up diagonally. In normal condition, the ship would have a 6-gun broadside, but in the event one of the amidships turrets were knocked out, the other had a small arc which it could fire across the opposite side of the ship, but only if the other wing turret was out of action. What is interesting about both designs D and E is that they both called for reciprocating engines instead of turbines. The committee had favoritism for design E, but they also questioned another potential design layout which resulted in design F, which was created during the meetings on the 12th but not presented seriously until the next day. Design F essentially had the turret arrangement that would be accepted for HMS Dreadnought, except it omitted the forwardmost turret. Even after Design F was proposed, the committee still favored Design E, and an improved variation of Design E was created, which lengthened the forecastle deck all the way back to the aftermost main battery turret in order to improve the ship's seaworthiness and to raise the 2 central turrets. It also swapped reciprocating engines with turbines. The swap in the engine plant meant better efficiency regarding boiler steam, and so the second E design had less boilers, which resulted in one of the 4 funnels being removed, creating a design with only 3 funnels. While the committee formally requested that turbines be used on Royal Navy capital ships when moving forward, this was a discussion that carried on within the Royal Navy for a couple of weeks until the results of the Cunard Turbine Committee for the Lusitania and Mauretania were presented, along with testimony from Parsons, who would produce the turbines, which ultimately resulted in the Royal Navy deciding that the pros of turbines far outweighed the pros of reciprocating engines. On the 22nd of February 1907, 2 more designs based on E would be created, which fine-tuned machinery arrangements and specific armor values, which resulted in the final design being created. It would have an overall length of 567 feet, with a maximum beam of 78 feet 6 inches and a draft of 26 feet on average. The vessel's standard displacement would be 17,250 tons, with a maximum displacement of 19,720 tons. Its machinery produced 41,000 shaft horsepower, giving it a top speed of 25 knots. It had a maximum coal load of 3,000 tons, along with 700 tons of oil. Its complement would be 708 officers and men. The main armament would be made up of 8 12-inch 45 caliber guns in 4 dual turrets. It would also have 18 12-pounder guns and 5 18-inch submerged torpedo tubes. The ship's main armor belt would be 6 inches, tapering down to 4 inches on the forward and after ends of the citadel. The main armor deck would have a maximum thickness of 2.5 inches and a minimum thickness of 1.5 inches. There would also be a 2-inch thick bulkhead behind the main armor belt surrounding the magazines, and there would also be a 2.5-inch thick torpedo bulkhead in the vicinity of the main magazines. The Royal Navy's Board of Construction was presented with this design on the 22nd of June 1905, and it was formally accepted for construction. The first ship was ordered from Armstrong Whitworth, and it would be laid down on the 2nd of April 1906, launched on the 13th of April 1907, and commissioned on the 20th of March 1909, being named Invincible. The second ship would be ordered from the John Brown shipyard. It would be laid down on the 5th of February 1906, launched on the 26th of June 1907, and commissioned on the 20th of October 1908, being named Inflexible. The third and final ship would be ordered from the Fairfield shipyard, and it would be laid down on the 1st of March 1906, launched on the 16th of March 1907, and commissioned on the 20th of June 1908, being named Indomitable. Once the term battlecruiser became official within the Royal Navy in 1911, it became recognized that the Invincible class were the first of their type to enter service in the Royal Navy. These ships were certainly as groundbreaking as Dreadnought, and they were impressive vessels. But there was much question surrounding their actual effectiveness in combat, and within a few years of their commissioning, they would be tested during the battles of World War I. But the stories surrounding the service histories of these vessels in World War I are for different days. So, if you have learned something new in this video, why not leave a like and a comment down below, and have a wonderful day.